causes for the world wars or reasons for the world wars. Few reasons we have, 6 reasons have been given. Let's start with aggressive nationalism, imperialism, secret alliances, militarism, Balkan politics, and last one, immediate cause. Let's start with aggressive nationalism. Let's try to get rid of this word aggressive nationalism. The term aggressive nationalism stands for a feeling of superiority about one's country in comparison to the other countries. You keep this definition in mind, you can understand this well. It's a positive force which created many nations in the modern Europe. In modern Europe, where new countries have been emerged. You might have read in your previous class unification of Germany, unification of Italy around 1870s. This aggressive nationalism developed pride in these nations and hatred towards other nations or the neighboring countries. If we see this aggressive nationalism, which was in destructive mode in Italy and Nazi Germany since 1923, fascists promoted aggressive nationalism and image of victorious Germany ruling over the world. If you check the list of Germans' history, if you check this, what you will get that they believed that their race, Nordic race or the Aryan race, is superior, and this superior race only has the right to rule the world. They spread this ideology. They also mobilized the Germans against other nations after Europe. First one we got. Next we go to imperialism. What actually imperialism? Imperialism, a policy of extending countries' power and influence through colonization, use of military force or other means. When we read this topic of imperialism, you need to keep 2 things in mind. Search for raw materials and access to markets. Why they needed raw materials and markets? Raw materials for the industries and access to markets to sell their products, and they could invest their capital. So they were in search of markets. Newly emerged powers of Europe or 2 independent countries of Europe of around 1870, Germany and Italy, they wanted redistribution of the colonies, for which old colonial masters like England and France or the other countries were not ready, which created tension and led to the war. Secret alliances. After defeating France in 1870, Bismarck, who was the Chancellor of Germany, wanted to isolate France. So he made a secret alliance with Austria in 1879 and with Italy and Austria in the year 1882. Italy, Austria and Germany. 3 they became, no? So it was called Triple Alliance. There were 3 in number: Italy, Austria and Germany. And you know that no country can remain in isolation. So France did the same what Germans did. French had secret alliance with Russia in the year 1891. Then France with Britain in 1904. And for their security, France, Russia and Britain, they had secret alliance in the year 1907, which was called Triple Entente, and these two secret alliances were jealous and suspicious towards each other. They were trying to get peace, but they never got real peace. Instead of that, they got armed peace, and these alliances created an atmosphere of fear. Militarism. Militarism is the belief that military power is the best way to ensure security and solve the problems. You see that what three components this militarism has. Firstly, all these countries had built massive armies, big armies for the defense. Secondly, they competed with each other in increasing their military weapons, military strength. Thirdly, a large industry of weapons emerged, which always promoted idea of war. Instead of diplomatic solution, they promoted war. When war industries can develop, when war continues, if there is no war, war industries can't make progress, they can't develop. That's why they promoted this idea. And you look at the graph that has been given, expenditure of some of the military forces, Germany, Russia, Austria, Italy, France, and the Great Britain, how much they increased. 132 million pounds to 397 million pounds it increased from 1880 to 1914. How much increase? Threefold increase, or the 300% increase you can take. Balkan politics, which were played in the region of Balkan, where this Balkan region is there. We will find this Serbia, Bulgaria to the Black Sea. This region was once under the control of Ottoman Turks. They were from different sects, languages. Their faith was different from the Turks. Most of them were Christian kingdoms, and the Ottoman Turks were the Muslims. So they freed themselves from the Turkish Empire. After the fall of Ottoman Empire, after the end of First World War, for the dominance, big powers of the Europe, Austria, Germany, Russia, Turkey, they competed for what supremacy over this region. Russia and Turkey were trying to control Black Sea and the Mediterranean Sea region into their hands for a long time. They had a long history of clashing. And the next one, Austria was trying to, as we discussed, trying to suppress Serbian rebels in Bosnia who were against the Austrian rule. Because of the above reasons, a tense situation was there. Immediate cause. On June 28, 1914, a Bosnian Serb named Gavrilo Princip assassinated the Crown Prince, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and his wife Sofia of Austria-Hungary. Austria asked Serbia for explanation on this, and the reply was unsatisfactory. So Austria declared war on Serbia on 28th July 1914. As Serbia was on the side of Britain, France, and Russia, they came to support it, and Germany jumped into the war in support of Austria. That's why it was called the First World War, and this was the immediate cause. The countries which were participated on behalf of Austria were known as Central Powers. Central Powers. I urge every one of you, look at the map. It will be easy to remember Central Powers. Whereas the other group was called Allied Powers. You know that England, France, USA. Okay? Central Powers got upper hand in the initial stage, or the beginning of the war, due to internal revolution. You know that socialist revolution. Russia The Allied power withdrew from the war by making treaty with Germany in 1917. On the other hand, US also jumped into the war on behalf of Allied countries when German troops sunk its commercial ship Lusitania in 1917. I think it was a printing mistake. Actual date is May 7, 1915. Thus, Allied powers became victorious in this war. Let's summarize this. Aggressive nationalism. What's that? Aggressive nationalism. Feeling of superiority of one nation over other nations, which led to the pride, hatred. Okay, first reason, Germany and Italy were the examples. Next one, imperialism. I urged you to simply keep 2-3 things in your mind. One, search for raw materials, markets, and try to dominate the world. These 3 words you keep in mind. You can remember imperialism. Third one was secret alliances. When distrust developed among these nations, they formed blocs. One bloc was led by Germany and the next one was led by France. Next reason was militarism. What was that? Militarism. Militarism, belief that military power is the best way to ensure security, and to solve all the problems. And the last one, next one, Balkan politics, pardon me, Balkan politics which played in the region of Balkan, where next to the Mediterranean Sea, to the east side of Italy, you can find this region. The last one, immediate cause, assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. How to remember this? Simple. You use 2 words, IASIBM. I stands for imperialism, A for aggressive nationalism, and S for secret alliances. Then I for immediate cause, B for Balkan politics, and the last one, M for militarism. Thanks a lot for watching.